Get ready, it's time for the podcast voted most likely to make you say, "What the flock?" It's the Talking Pools show. And here are your hosts, the dysfunctional duo of myth-debunking pool pros, Rudy Stankiewicz and Andrea Nannini.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Hey everybody, my name is Rudy Stankiewicz. This is the Talking Pools podcast, and I am here with my friend, my partner, my cohort in crime on this podcast, who was last week abducted by aliens.
Yes, hello, I'm Andrea Nannini. I'm fine.
Thank goodness. We were worried.
I had a panic attack aboard the mothership.
The mothership. Yeah, we were worried. We thought maybe some of those folks that cut their prices came in and abducted you, beamed you up into outer space, and sent you off. Boy, did I have your mom in a tizzy.
They tried to. I know, my mom got me. She texted me and she was like, "Are you okay? I'm a little worried now." I was like, "No, I'm fine."
Rudy said aliens. So she totally bought into that whole thing that you could have possibly been abducted by aliens. So anyway, I don't know if everybody is. How are you doing, by the way? I haven't talked to you in a little bit.
I'm doing okay. Like I was talking before we started recording, my AC has crapped out on me. So I am hot and a little cranky, but I should be okay.
Well, keep it on that side of the fence, because really the last thing I need is to have somebody attacking me during a podcast. Save it for later. If I say anything stupid, you can text me.
Just watch how you talk to me. That's all. And that goes for everybody.
That goes, yeah, but that's for all the time. That's been since I've known you. So for 4 or 5 years now. So everybody needs to watch how they talk to you. So anyway, but I guess
to that.
For folks that have been listening. Folks that have been listening, don't be sorry. For folks that have been listening for a while, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but we have a little bit of a thing that we do, and I think it kind of keeps it fresh and interesting. But we make sure at all times that one of us is never prepared for what we're going to speak about.
And it's usually me.
It is usually Andrea on the receiving end of that. I usually don't tell her until I bring it up in conversation. So we decided to switch it up today. So Andrea has a topic that we're going to speak on in a few minutes, and I have no idea what it is. So we're going to see if I can do as well, holding up to the surprise conversation as she normally does. But before we get into that, there are some things going on in the world that we should talk about.
Sounds good. What's up?
Well, that tower by you. What the hell?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a super tragic event that's going on.
Surfside. It's in Surfside, right? That's the name of the city.
Surfside,
okay.
Florida. Yeah, it's pretty much Miami area.
Okay.
I've actually stayed in a hotel on Sunny Isles, which is nearby there as well.
Right in that area.
Yeah,
okay.
It's right on the beach. So
they say it's the result of a pool problem.
You know what's funny is, well, not funny, but you know what's interesting, I should say, is when we first saw this happening on the news and they said something about how it looked like there was erosion, some kind of erosion happening under the building, and that could have caused. My first immediate thought went to the pool, like immediately.
But here's the thing. So there's this pool problem. There was a pool contractor in there 2 or 3 days before the collapse. He didn't do anything wrong. He's fine. He was taking down information. He had to prepare his bid, and I'm sure everything he saw was going to be part of what was repaired. But they first noticed these things in an engineer's report back in 2018.
Right, I heard
3
that.
years.
Yeah.
So it took 3 years before they decided to have the renovations done at this facility.
Well, I can tell you from experience that trying to get homeowners associations to approve things is very tedious and a painstakingly slow. Is that the right word? Painstakingly slow? I don't know.
Sure.
Whatever. I mean, it's ridiculous trying to get them to approve things. So,
but that's not the way it rolled out, though. It's the other way around, though, because it's not like they were trying to get the homeowners association to approve anything. Nobody had provided them with bids or estimates because they didn't ask for any. So they hadn't started. They just started that process now. They just started receiving bids on the repairs now that were obvious 3 years ago in an engineer's report that the current building official denies seeing. He actually told them after the engineer's report came out, "Oh, don't worry about it. Everything's good."
I'm not surprised. I mean, it's like I said, it's tragic. I'm not surprised at all that.
So multi-million-dollar renovations about to begin. They knew about them 3 years ago. They're just starting to get bids now. That's what that pool contractor was out there for, to give a bid on the pool area. He noticed the cracking concrete and the corroded rebar, right? And it was thrown enough that he took pictures to send to his boss and say, hey, you know what? There's a lot more going on here than we thought. So they're preparing the bid. And in the meantime,
the
whole
collapses.
thing falls apart. What about you? Did you read about the lady, the model, Chrissy? I think her name is Chrissy. I may be wrong on that, but the model, she called her husband when she felt the building start to shake. He was up in DC, and then during the conversation, she told him, "Oh my God, the pool is gone."
I heard somebody call. I didn't. Maybe it's the same person that I heard about, and I just don't know that much of the detail about it. But I did hear about a woman who called her husband and she said the pool is caving in.
It's a horrible thing. It's really scary. It's super devastating, and they've only found 11 bodies so far. That's it. 11 bodies. Now, of course, we're recording this a couple of days earlier than we release it. So hopefully they find more folks. Hopefully they find survivors by the time that this actually airs. But 11 bodies they found, 150 people still missing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's terrible. It really is. I mean, there's just nothing really that you could say about it.
And it's due to negligence. That's neglect,
for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
If you get an engineer's report 3 years ago and it takes you 3 years before you start to do anything about it, the condo association knew about it. The board knew about it because the engineer's report went directly to them.
Yeah.
So everybody just waited. And then you have catastrophe. Ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Those poor people, those poor families, those poor people, and if any of them are listening, you guys are in our prayers, and we are hoping that in the next couple of days, the news turns a little better and we start to find some survivors here.
Absolutely. Yes, for sure.
So now, on a total twist, another thing that's going on right now, there's a pervert up in Livermore.
Where's Livermore?
And I think it's in England.
Okay.
I don't know. I see breaking news that Bill Cosby was freed. It says Bill Cosby freed from prison. Pervert over in Livermore, that's a family friend of this family, right? So the friend of the family invites their girls over to swim in his pool. So he hooks up his camera phone in the bathroom while they're changing to use the pool. And the guy is 52. The girls are 14 and 15 years old.
Oh, my God.
And they were in there changing into their suits when they noticed the lens of the cell phone pointing right at them. One of the girls turned it immediately off. But so the police arrested this guy. He deserves to stay in prison for a long time. And hopefully he drops the soap. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. That's crazy.
You're my bitch now. Country pulled my pocket.
Should be. Yeah, so that's.
Go ahead. Well, yeah.
What's ridiculous? I mean, can you imagine?
Well, I had kind of a similar experience. I wasn't underage or anything, but I was cleaning a pool, and this really weirdo customer guy, he was like, "Oh, you can get in my pool. You can jump in. You can do whatever. I'll bring you a towel." And it was really hot that day. I did jump in his pool. But then apparently later on, I heard my sister worked at a bar at the time, and she was like, your customer came in and was talking about how you were swimming in his pool and how great it was. And it was a real creepy situation. So I never went back there.
I don't blame you. That's weird. So you went into a bar that your sister happened to work in, and he was speaking about you swimming in the pool.
Yes.
So it could have been worse.
Yes, exactly. It could have been worse, and that's why I kind of watched myself after that. So I'm not sure if he knew that was my sister.
Probably not. You guys really don't look anything alike.
No, this is my dark-haired sister. Yeah,
the dark-haired sister. You make it sound like she's the one the house fell on, and like those are her monkeys, not yours, right?
Yes,
so,
pretty much.
So anyway, wrong witch. Hello, I'm Glenda's good witch. Oops.
There's Andrea coughing again. I'm
Yes.
Brenda the Good Witch, and I have the dark-haired sister, and she's so evil and works in bars.
All right. So anyway, after that, we put out some questions. We were talking about the chlorine shortage, right? We were talking about the chlorine crisis, and
Yes.
we were discussing over the past couple of weeks some hacks that people had, and we asked folks, well, hey, if you have any hacks or anything you want to share, let us know. So I do have a couple of emails here. I'm going to go through quick. I'm just going to go through two of them because there's way too many. But I have
Okay, well, hold
from-
on. One thing I want to interrupt you real quick. So you know how you posted about the dryer sheet?
Yes.
Apparently, there's a TikTok video about that, which I haven't seen. I haven't
That
seen
is
it.
awesome. Well, you need to hunt that down because
I'm gonna
that
have
is
to.
amazing. And obviously, everybody who's listening knows that the dryer sheet. I hate to say the dryer sheet thing is fabricated because it makes it sound so much funnier or punnier. But hey,
Ayo.
what are you going to do? It is completely made up. So Jackie Edelman, who listens, she says that if you use salt and supplemental sanitizers, the solution takes care of itself. That's all she had to add. But as far as alternative methods of taking care of swimming pools, then we have Bill up at Preferred Pool Core. He says that he started using UV sterilization a couple of decades ago, and he loves it, coupled with mineral erosion devices, and he also uses borates to stabilize pH. His trichlor demands have been really, really low for him. But right now what he's looking to do is he's looking to switch to AOP.
Advanced
AOP is
oxidation process. I always
Advanced
get my
oxidation
potential
process.
and my potential and my process confused.
I don't blame you. Both of them start with a P and with a different letter. So that's exactly the same. So advanced oxidation process, along with his borate routine. So it doesn't look like he started yet. He's moving to do that. And again, that involves either UV and ozone or UV and hydrogen peroxide, or ozone and hydrogen peroxide, or all three, UV, ozone, and hydrogen peroxide. Ultimately, what happens in AOP is it involves the dissociation of hydrogen peroxide, and you form this hydroxyl radical. And when we call it advanced oxidation process, it's just because it oxidizes so much more quickly than any other method that we have available to us. So it is really cutting edge technology. And Bill, I appreciate you bringing that up. We can do a whole episode on that if we want, but
Sure.
That's not what the plan is. Not today, because it's your turn, unless that's what you want to talk about. But I think you have something different up your sleeve. So thank you, Bill, for sending that in. Thank you, Jackie, for sending that in. I don't know if there's anything else going on in the news that I saw, there's a bunch of pools opening. There's a bunch of pools not opening because the lifeguard shortage. We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
That continues. People don't want to be lifeguards.
Yeah,
Why?
that's strange. I don't know. It is really hot to sit outside in the sun, though.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're 17, 18 years old during the summer, where are you going to be anyway? At the beach?
Hey, you know what? My son is looking for a job. I'm going to make him go.
You should make him go.
Not
if he
make
can
him,
swim
but I'll suggest
No, I
it
would
to him.
force him. I would twist his arm.
Yeah.
You will be a lifeguard, you sorry,
You
blah,
sorry?
blah, blah. I don't know what you call your child when you're mad at him.
Dickhead.
Wow. Just wow.
I'm kidding. I love my child, but
when you when you go tell Dickhead that he needs to be a lifeguard, I would have him leave that off of the application where it asks for names.
yes,
Right.
nicknames.
So just put his first and regular last name. Don't enter Dickhead on the sheet.
And no, you can't contact my mother because she's an asshole too.
I would not contact my mother as a reference at all. Not after she called me Dickhead. All right.
Nope.
So with that, I guess on that note, I'm out. What are we talking about this week, Andrea?
All right. Well, so I'm sure you already know. You probably have a good idea. So two things I wanted to talk about. So the whole month of June, people are opening their pools. People are getting ready for the summer. Do you know what else happened in June? What? It was Captain Picard Day.
Captain Picard Day of
Yes.
the Starship Enterprise.
That's right. June 16th is Captain Picard Day. So yeah,
And
that's
Andrea,
he's
for
my
those of
favorite.
you that don't know, Andrea is a huge Star Trek fan. She's
Yes.
an absolute use. And anytime you say anything potentially Star Trek related, you will get kudos from Andrea. That is a fact.
Oh, you know what else is a fun fact? Somebody posted a picture from a Star Trek a set, just like an episode, and there was a skimmer like piled up in the background, like the ship had been destroyed and there was debris all over the place, and there was a skimmer sitting there at the
A
top
swimming
of the pile.
pool skimmer.
Yep.
From the Starship Enterprise.
That's right.
How cool would it be to own that one?
That would be awesome.
So where'd you get that skimmer, Andrea? Oh, yeah, I got it from the Starship Enterprise.
That's right.
Probably when you were beamed up to space last week when you were abducted.
Yep. I wish I could have brought it home with me, man.
All right, so Captain Picard Day, Starship Enterprise. There is something pool related coming aside from the skimmer, right?
Yeah. Talk about safety and drowning prevention and things like that, since it's the beginning of the summer and all these pools are open now. And so those are the things I wanted to talk about.
So go for it. It's all yours.
Okay, well, so I'll talk about the drowning statistics first, just because that's something that it's really important to me. I've had a few incidents in my neighborhood and close to where I live and things like that, I've been a part of a community that's been affected by a tragic drowning. It happened right before Christmas a few years ago.
That's horrible. According
to the CDC's website, the drowning prevention section, you can go there, look at all this information. Drowning is the leading cause of death in kids ages 1 to 4, and that's not including birth defects.
How horrible is that? Think about it. 1 to 4.
Yes, in ages 1 to 4, and that's actually what happened with the little boy right up the street from me. As a matter of fact, I believe he was like 2 or 3 years old. So drowning is also the second leading cause of death in children ages 1 to 14, which was it higher than the car accidents? I believe that's, or behind car accidents. I think car accidents was first. And then, sorry. See, I told you I scribbled. So anyway, and then they also list the yearly average. So from 2010 to 2019, the average of fatal drownings was 3,960 fatal drownings.
3,000? That wasn't just swimming pools, was it?
No, that includes other things, that boating and all kinds of stuff like that. Basically around any type of water, body of water.
I had heard that the major contributing factor to most drowning deaths in that infant range 1 to 4 is lack of
supervision.
Lack of swimmability. I want to agree with you on lack of supervision, but it's actually lack of swimmability, because if the child knows how to swim, right, then if the parents watching them or not, they have a better shot at surviving. Now, I don't disagree with you. Lack of supervision is a big deal. I used to do a lot of commercial pools. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So I'd be out there, and people go out there and they take their kid and they plop it in the pool. Like the pool's a babysitter. And then they sit up there on the lounge chair up on the pool deck, taking selfies, updating their Facebook status, going through all these different filters so they don't look like an old crow.
Right.
And then who's supposed to watch the kid? The lifeguard?
And that's maybe why people don't want a lifeguard, because they don't want to be responsible for somebody sitting on their phone and not paying attention to their own child.
Well, see, I had an idea for a sign a few years ago, but it never took off. It was a good idea, but it went something along the lines of, get off the phone, dumbass. The lifeguard is not your child's personal babysitter.
I like it. It's a little wordy for a shirt, but I like it.
Well, no, it was for a sign.
Oh, a sign. Okay, yeah.
Like hanging by the pool. I guess you could wear it on a shirt too, but then it is a little bit wordy. But a big sign by the pool that says, get rid of your cell phone. You know what? What do you want to do? Or go to a funeral? So
you mentioned swimming lessons being effective, right?
Yes.
Not number one, but so the actual statistic is that swimming lessons reduce the risk of drowning by 88%.
88%. That is amazing.
That's a big, that's a lot of help, I guess,
Right. Well, that was seriously. So 88% is pretty much 90%. So instead of 10 people drowning, that would be one person that drowns out of that same number. Right.
Right. Yep.
Well, 10 people would be 100%. Right. So it drops it by 88%. So that's about right. Instead of 10, only one person drowns, which still sucks.
Right.
Because we don't want anybody to drown.
No,
Pools are
not at
supposed to
all.
be fun. So.
Yeah. So, and then just a couple of other statistics that I actually didn't know. So obviously everyone can drown. It's not just children. But children are at the most at risk, obviously, the supervision thing we talked about. And there's all kinds of other reasons, but not only children drown. So males are actually 80% of all the fatal drownings have been male, according to
because
the
they're heavier.
Some of them are. Mostly they attribute it to, risk-taking behavior. Alcohol plays a big part. And I guess just being more exposed to water. There's a lot of occupations that involve being around water, so it's probably a big part of it. And then so you have a certain minority and ethnic groups that are at higher risk of drownings because they don't have access to swimming lessons. They don't have necessarily access to pools. People with medical conditions are also at a high risk,
Well, that's where we go back to the whole lifeguard thing, right? So if we don't have enough lifeguards to open city pools across the country, because not everybody lives near a lake or a pond or the ocean where they can just go swim there instead.
Right.
So if we don't have enough lifeguards to man or person up, what's the word now? Is there a new word?
There's no word for that. It's okay.
If we don't have enough lifeguards of either sex to man the pool and operate it correctly so that it can open and we can have coverage for the whole time. Those pools don't open. And then those children in those areas away from natural bodies of water, they don't have any options. They don't get to learn to swim like other kids do. And then when there is water, when they are around water, now this is something new and they just don't have the skill set.
Yes, exactly. So those are the people that are at risk for drowning. Obviously, kids being the highest risk.
Layers start from the inside out toward the pool.
Yes.
So the first thing you need to take a look at are those exit areas or the exits from your home that go into that pool area, windows, sliding glass doors, regular doors. That's why sliding glass door alarms exist. So you'll know if the child goes out the back door. That's your first defense. Alarm the back door so that way you know if it opens.
So you're alerted to that sound.
That's exactly. So you hear the noise, you go out there, you stop them before you even need any of the other layers of protection. The next one is the child-proof safety fence.
Right. And that has to be 4 feet tall?
48 inches, correct.
And then you need to have, if it has a gate, because some of those pool fences have the gate with the Magna-lock.
Right.
Self-locking. So they have to be self-closing and self-locking.
Correct. And the knob at the top of the latch actually has to be 54 inches in height. So it can't be flush. It has to sit a little bit higher. Well, the goal is that the child can't reach it. And the good thing about those fences is they are near impossible for a child to climb. I'm not going to say impossible because you never know, because I see videos of children climbing.
There's always a Houdini child somewhere.
All the time. Yeah, somewhere. But then you have the safety fence. So first the sliding glass door alarm, then the safety fence. The next layer of protection would be a safety cover.
Yes. And not one of those loose tarps. It has to be this cover.
No. I'm talking spring-loaded, the type that elephants walk across.
I was just going to say the dogs jumping on and stuff like that. Yes.
Right. So the ones that catch cars when they veer across people's yards, one of those covers, spring-loaded cover. And then after that, a pool alarm.
For the water. Right.
For the water. So that way, if somebody got into the pool. So those are the different safety things that you should have. And of course, the thing that trumps all four of those.
Supervision.
That and teach your child to swim.
And the swimming lessons.
Teach the child to swim. And now here's the thing. Are swimming lessons expensive? Do you know?
They can be. If you get those... if you get the infant survival ISR. I don't know, ISR. If you get those can be really expensive.
Well, it's subjective. It's all subjective.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the alternative? What are you putting a price on if you don't put a price on that?
What? Oh, I see what you mean. Like, huh? Yeah, no, I mean but that comes from a specialized person and things like that. But you can
But
actually
what's expensive? Like $500 a lesson?
No, I think they're like $900.
A lesson? Is that your husband leaving?
No, that was my son just left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dickhead?
Yes, the dickhead. That's why. See,
Wow.
you see how he drives? Yes.
All right.
So
ladies and gentlemen, Dickhead has just left the building. So, wow. Oh, there she goes again.
Hold on.
Yeah, so teach your child to swim. I mean, I don't care how much it costs. You know what? My child is worth more.
Well, I was going to say, like I was just, those types of lessons are very expensive, but you can also go elsewhere. There are swim schools. There's the YMCA will have programs and stuff like that.
But parks departments teach things like that are super cheap.
Okay.
They're like, what, $90 for 12 weeks of lessons or something along those lines?
Idea.
And they'll teach that 1 to 3 to 4 year old age group. So worst case scenario, if you can't afford the $900 a lesson you're talking about, which that sounds high to me, but $900 a lesson, you can do $90 for 12 lessons. Just go to your local parks department.
Sure.
Right? Or if you need, if you got a YMCA, it might cost a little bit more, then go to your YMCA. There are a lot of different options around. Correct?
Yes, absolutely. There are. And you know what? I have a list.
No. Okay.
I have a list of websites that, I don't know, do we have
we can,
show
as long
notes,
as you
or
provide me with the list.
I have a bunch of the links that provide all kinds of resources for swimming, for finding affordable swimming lessons. If you want to pay for the ISR lessons, there's all kinds of information and tips and links to safety equipment and things like that. There's also,
I think we should do that.
Huh? Yes.
I think we should post that.
Yeah, we'll post it. Do you want me to say them out, like a couple of them? Well, okay, so here's one of them that I just...
Your show. I'm just going along for the ride today.
So since we were talking about, we just segued into, preventing your layers of protection. There's all kinds of these websites. So one of my favorite approaches to this from abbyshope.org. Abby, I don't remember the last name off the top of my head. Abby was a little girl who was a victim of a fatal drowning. And I believe there was a lot of people in the pool with her. So I can see now why you say, supervision isn't always going to help, because
it never
drowning
hurts.
can happen in front of anybody. So
it definitely doesn't mean teach your child to swim so you don't have to look at them anymore.
Exactly.
That's not what it means. It means you should do both.
Right, exactly. Okay. So here's what I was getting to. So if you go to abbyshope.org, you can sign up to become a water watchdog, which they send you this really cute tag, which is right here. I'm showing it to Rudy.
Oh, that is really cool. It looks like a giant dog tag.
It's a giant dog tag. So what you do is you designate.
It would be kind of like if Flava Flav had a dog tag.
If Flava Flav was like that. If Flava Flav was in drowning prevention, yes, that was
right. He would have that tag. So it was kind of like that.
Yes, it's a giant.
Which is cool. I'm not knocking it. I'm going to get one.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty cool.
It's free. So you go to the website. All you have to do is make a pledge. No money involved. It's not a monetary pledge, unless you want to, of course. You make the pledge that you are going to be a water watchdog. You are going to pay attention to the children in the pool without your phone, without any distraction, without alcohol. And so the person who is designated wears this giant dog Flavor Flav clock dog tag.
Okay, so that they're visible. So it's done in giant clock style Flavor Flav.
Right. So almost like a
attire-ish.
lifeguard situation. So if you have a pool party, you rotate throughout the adults, throughout people who are going to be responsible. You rotate this job, say maybe 10, 15 minutes or however long people want to sit there for without looking at their phone, because that can be stressful, I know. And that's one of my favorite things. I try and tell
what's
people
the
all
title?
about it.
What title does this person earn?
Water watchdog.
Water watchdog. So everybody that goes to a pool that has children should be, or is the aunt of a child, or the uncle of a child, or grandparents,
Or older
friend
brother,
of the
my
family,
yeah.
or anybody should go through something like this and become a water watchdog.
Yeah.
Or if there's other organizations out there that have something that's just as similar,
I'm sure there
and
are.
just as wonderful, then those are also okay to do.
I'm sure
right?
there are. Yeah, and absolutely. And, you don't have to have this tag, but it is cute to have. And it's, it helps
It's
with,
pretty cool.
it helps with, I would imagine identifying the person. If you're in trouble, you could be like, hey, I know, Aunt Janet has the tag for this moment or whatever. So I encourage everybody to go and do that. abbyshope.org. Just make a little 2-sentence pledge. That's all it takes. They send you the tag, and that's the watchdog thing. So,
and you guys don't see it because we don't, we're talking, not showing, but that tag is actually made out of aluminum, stainless, something along those lines. It's metal.
It's metal. It is a teeny bit flimsy, but on the back of it,
well, I mean, it's not like aluminum foil.
No. It's definitely.
It's not plastic.
No, it's
metal.
not. It's for sure metal. So I'll read you what it says on the back, okay? It says, I agree to maintain constant visual contact with children in my group, stay by the water until relieved by another adult or, responsible teenager, because I would assign this to my dickhead son. Keep a phone.
CPS will be there tomorrow.
It's just a joke. So you want to keep a phone nearby for emergencies, but obviously you're not going to.
Before you do that, does Dickhead listen to the podcast?
No.
Okay,
No.
so we're all right there. All right, back to the serious stuff. So go ahead, keep a phone.
Keep a phone nearby for emergencies. Obviously, you're not going to want to be on Facebook or TikTok or anything like that. Refrain from drinking alcohol or socializing while on duty, and refrain from talking on the phone, texting, or reading. So basically,
you're
anything
basically
that's going to take
official.
away anything that's going to distract you.
You're basically the official lifeguard.
Sure. Yeah.
When you wear that.
Yep. That's the idea.
So it's kind of, okay, I see how that goes. Actually, that's a great idea. I think that's really good. And then you hand it off to somebody else. And as long as they're wearing it, they're the person who has to oversee the pool. Just don't give it to somebody who's got a beer in their hand and says, here, hold this for a minute. Watch this. Right? Hold my beer. I'm going to go watch the kids. You don't want to do that. If that person has, not that that person shouldn't have a beer, especially if that's the person at the grill, it almost goes together.
I was going to say the grill guy cannot be the pool guy. The watchdog guy, no.
No.
He needs
because
to
he already has he has a different important job, not as important, but it's kind of important. So we'll leave him alone.
You got the grill master. You got to pick the grill master and the water watchdog. Those are the two most important positions at any barbecue.
Yes, I agree with that. I can't disagree with that at all. So,
cool.
Okay.
So there's also, like I said, there's the poolsafely.gov that has links to swimming lessons, all kinds of resources.
They have their own program as well, don't they?
I believe they do. I don't know the details of that one off the top of my head.
I think you get a certificate with them. It's oh gosh, they're going to kill me because I can't remember the name of it. Oh well, we'll look it up and Google it.
We'll look it up and
we'll look it up. We'll look it up. We'll make sure that we have it in here.
Yes, but Pool Safely.
Or we'll just edit you out completely. Either way. Pool Safely. They have a water watch program as well. I know they do. So
yes. And then there's also your National Drowning Prevention Alliance, ndpa.org. Same thing, lots of different resources and lots of good information.
So all of these are nonprofits, I'm going to imagine. At least
Yes.
the majority of these things you mentioned are nonprofits, and
Yes.
none of them are sponsoring us. None of them know that we're talking about this.
No.
As Andrea continues to drop things.
I'm sorry.
But with that, whether they know we're talking about them or not, they're all super, super important programs that play a huge role in your community.
Can I add
in
one more?
helping to prevent in a minute that help to prevent children from drowning. So even though this isn't about asking for money or donations or any of that stuff, you should give them money and donations anyway.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't, it means you hate America. Okay, now go ahead.
And swimming. Okay, so one last really cool program, a community kind of outreach, a community awareness kind of thing that goes on is the world's largest swimming lesson. Have you heard about that?
I have heard about this.
Okay. So basically, if you are anybody who runs, say, an aquatic facility, or if you're at a YMCA, these kinds of water parks, like you were saying earlier, these kinds of places will participate, or you can get them to participate in the world's largest swimming lesson. And that website is WLSL.org for all of that info. So you can actually host a lesson if you happen to be the director. You know, if you have a facility that you can use to host, you can host the lesson, or you can go to that website and find places that are hosting it. We've missed it. That was June 17th. So my bad on that one. But
going around next time.
It's a yearly thing. And I feel like it's on the 17th or somewhere close to that date. I don't think it varies much from that date.
We'll have to look. We'll post that too.
We'll look it up and we'll post that too. So sorry.
Andrea will be looking up all of these things to provide to me so I can post them.
Yes,
that's the way that's going to work. So, all right.
I will. Yep.
So if they're not there, you know who to blame.
Yeah, you can come at me like everybody always does.
Okay.
So that's
super
pretty
cool.
much all I have on drowning prevention. Just layers of protection is layers of protection, supervision, swimming lessons, obviously, safety equipment, safety features. If you go to a hotel and something doesn't look right, say something.
I mean, we're on the subject. We might as well cover that as well. What safety equipment should we look for at a facility? There's a lot of people who run facilities that listen to us.
Right. So you want to make sure that you have, like we said, the safety fences. Those are
well, they need to have a fenced-in area. It doesn't have to be that child-proof fencing, but they do need to have a fence, and their barrier needs to meet those same requirements you mentioned.
Exactly.
It has to be at least 48 inches tall, measured from the outside. We always measure it from the outside because we're trying to keep kids from getting in.
Inside.
It's not like it's a cage, so we're not trying to keep them from getting out. So, and then the latch of the gate itself, again, has to be
self-latching, self-closing. And then if you have the bars, if you have a, this type of fence, the gap has to be.
The bars that looks like a prison.
Yes.
Prison bar fence.
I believe it's 4 inches.
It cannot allow the passage of a 4-inch sphere.
Yes.
So it has to be slightly less than 4 inches.
Right. Gotcha.
So just a hair less.
Yes. And then
hairless, not hairless, but hairless.
Ideally, you want a hairless pool.
Yes, ideally you do want a hairless pool. So for those of you that have dogs, a whole other show, but you let them swim in your pools.
That was a different.
We're going to charge you more.
Yes, for sure.
Because you do not have a hairless pool. All right, but back to the facility.
Okay.
The gate has to be self-closing, self-latching, and the height of the latch has to be how tall?
48 inches. High? Wait.
54.
Oh, the latch. Inches. I'm sorry. I was thinking
the top of the latch, right, because we don't want kids to be able to get that.
Correct.
So inside the pool area, what kind of safety equipment are we looking for?
So you're going to want to have, your life ring, or I don't know what it's called.
The ring buoy. What's called the ring buoy?
No, but what's the thing that you put on the end of the pole that's like curved?
A life hook, or a shepherd's crook, they call it.
A life hook. Okay, I didn't know what that was called, but yeah,
right.
You want,
and that has to be on a single single piece pole. You can't put it on a telepole. That'll pull apart under the weight.
Okay. Did not know that.
And that the length of that pole does vary state by state, what you're required to have. Okay. So here in Florida, we are required to have a 16-foot pole, but then in Georgia, they only need a 12-foot pole.
Okay.
So either their pools aren't as wide or they don't care about the people in the middle.
I was just going to say, I don't think they care about the people in the middle.
No, that's not it at all. So, but they're just required to have a 12-foot. They're required to have a 12-foot. And then, of course, it varies throughout the country. So, but you said ring buoy. So 18-inch diameter ring buoy with enough rope attached to it to meet all areas of the pool.
Is there a specific length or just depends on the pool?
It depends on the length of the pool. But you bring up a good point, because if your pool is greater than 50 feet long, guess what? You got to have two, one at each end. The same thing with the life hook. If it's greater than 50 feet, you need two of them. Okay. Now, here's where, so we picked on Georgia about them having a short pole. But
sorry,
here's
Georgia.
Here's where kudos to Georgia goes, because Georgia is one of the few states that actually require that ring buoy to be a Coast Guard approved ring buoy.
Oh, well, that's good.
So Florida, for example, does not. So what you'll see a lot of the time, and this is wrong, so if you put it there, shame on you, but you'll see a lot of the time as you go from facility to facility throughout Florida and some of the other states. I'm not going to slam Florida, but you'll see that folks have that decorative styrofoam ring buoy hanging up poolside. You know what that is?
That's a pain in the ass. That's a pain in the ass because the styrofoam ends up in my pool.
Yeah, but it's a toy. That's what that is. It's not a life-saving device. It's a decoration.
It's decoration.
So, right. But folks have it hung up poolside. So even though your code may not require you to have a Coast Guard approved ring buoy, guess what? You should still get one, because if you're going to ever be in a position where you have to throw a life-saving device to somebody, don't you want to ensure that it is an actual life-saving device?
I would want to.
I think so.
I mean, I feel like it would be pretty cartoonish if you just threw a piece of styrofoam at somebody drowning.
Well, and think about the weight of it, too. I mean, if there's a good breeze that comes along, it's going to shoot back over your head like a frisbee. Yeah, you won't be able to
throw it at all.
But those Coast Guard approved ring buoys, they got some weight to them. The wind's not going to move those at all. So, all right. So we have the life hook with pole. We talked about the barrier requirements. We have the ring buoy with the rope attached to it. The other thing that we need to have is what?
Then you're going to need the rope float in the pool that separates the deep end from the shallow end.
Yes, and that is what keeps the facility from having to have a lifeguard.
Oh.
If you have a transition and slope in the pool floor, you have to have that rope float set. If you do not have that rope float set, the only other way that pool gets to be open is if you have a lifeguard on duty. Okay? What the hell is that? Kill it. Kill it. Is that Tinkerbell?
My phone.
And every time you say you don't believe in fairies, Tinkerbell dies. Ah!
Oh, no.
Help me. I am Peter Pan's baby mom.
So, all right. So we're here killing fairies. All right. So we have to have the rope float set to separate the deep end from the shallow end. That means the minute one of their guests unhooks that rope float set so they can swim a lap,
close the pool.
That pool.
Sorry.
Damn straight. No, shut that mother down.
All
for
right,
real.
yeah.
Unless you have a lifeguard on duty. And I don't mean a lifeguard who's hanging out. I mean one who's being paid to be there and watch the pool.
Right.
Lifeguard. So, all right.
All right. That's it for our drowning prevention awareness show. I am going to post all the links that I talked about. I'm going to post all of those. I'll get all that.
She promised.
I will get all that, and I will post all of that information. We hope everybody stays safe. We tried to keep this show light. I didn't want to be too depressing about it. So stay safe, enjoy your pools, and I hope everybody has a great holiday.
Yeah, I'm going to add to that really quick. I mean, if you're a pool professional listening to this and you're not at an aquatic facility, like as your day gig, you're out there cleaning pools, you play a huge role in this as well.
Absolutely.
Cloudy water, turbid water where you have trouble seeing the floor of the pool, those are major contributors in drowning accidents. And that you have to be aware of. So you do have a huge role there, making sure that the Virginia Graham Baker Act compliance is in place for your main drain grates, your suction outlets, things along those lines. So don't think that this one didn't apply. The whole goal here in what everybody does, whether you're an aquatics or a pool professional, or if you're a homeowner, we want people to enjoy their pools, and we don't want pools to be deadly.
Something feared.
We know, you know what? We know there are hidden dangers, right? You take all the precautions you can and you have a good time. You go about it responsibly and then everything's good. But there's no reason swimming pools should turn deadly.
And yeah, drowning is 100% preventable. So as long as, well, I guess not 100%. There are.
No, because remember in
I don't want to say 100%.
Titanic. Remember in Titanic, I don't know if there was room on the door for him or not, but I'm pretty sure he drowned after that. Because it's like she's like floating around. What was her name?
Rose.
Kate
Winslet.
Rose.
Rose is the character.
Kate Winslet. She's right. So she's on this door and she's like, "No, get the fuck away from me!"
She froze to death.
And he's like, "But do you think he could have fit on the door with her?" He's kind of a skinny dude.
Absolutely, he could have.
So
I think there's a whole meme about it.
She was just over the whole relationship at that time.
Yeah,
right?
I think so. She just was like,
so
whatever.
Not 100. Well, I guess it was preventable if she let him on the door.
Well, yeah, he still might have froze. I just don't want to say 100% preventable because another incident that happened, there was a girl who was on the spectrum who ended up being able to get out of her front door, and she ended up in a retention pond that's right up the street from my house. So I don't.
Can you do me a favor
though
before we continue?
Yeah.
Can you? I do know what that means, being on the spectrum, but can you just explain it really quick?
The autism spectrum. I don't know exactly where she was, but I know that she was.
So you're referring to people who have autism?
Yes.
When you say that they're on the spectrum?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
is that wrong?
Maybe not every. No, you're correct.
Okay.
I'm just saying maybe not everybody knows that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So
don't be sorry. It's okay. You're good.
So that was one of the things that people with medical conditions are at a higher risk. Obviously, being on the autism spectrum or Asperger's or anything in between. That happened to her. So that was a tragedy. I don't know if that could have been prevented because nobody even knew. Whatever, it was a big thing. So anyway,
so all of this
drowning. Let me take the 100% out. So we'll just say drowning is preventable. Does that work?
Super serious subject.
Yes.
Super serious topic.
Yes.
We do try to keep things a little bit light here so it's not depressing, but these things could easily turn very depressing for you if you don't take the right precautions and look at the areas that you're letting your child swim in, or you're swimming in yourself. Never swim alone.
Yes.
That's part of it. Make sure your home is safe. Go through the layers of protection we spoke about. If you're not sure, get together with your pool professional and they can help you with that.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Talk to folks at aquatic facilities.
Absolutely.
Find a place to get swim lessons. Make sure that you're on top of everything that we discussed.
That's right.
Are you pouring water?
No, it's raining.
Is it raining on you?
It's raining.
Okay. So, all right. So, again, super serious subject. We are who we are. So I know we try to make things a little bit on the lighter side, but don't take it wrong. This is something that could turn deadly, and you want to be prepared for that. So
yes.
I guess with that, I'm Rudy.
And I'm Andrea. And thanks for listening. You can find us on all social, not TikTok yet. I'm sorry. I still haven't done that. I'm going to do that today. I'm going to do that today because I got some
lies.
I have some fun ideas. Anyways, you can find us on the Instagrams, on the Facebooks. You have a YouTube channel.
You have to find the bounce. You have to find the bounce dryer.
Oh, I do. I have to find that. Because somebody commented about how hysterical it was. And so I have to go and see what I can find.
Oh, wow. Definitely.
It was funny because that's what I was going to ask. I thought you just made that up. So the fact that there's a TikTok about it scares me.
Well, no, yeah, I did just make it up because I knew we were going to be talking about Mr. Clean magic erasers. So I was looking around my house for something silly, and I saw that I had a box of bounce dryer sheets. So I decided I would run with it.
Well,
ta-da!
I guess it took off.
And a pool hack is born.
Oh my
All right.
God.
So for any of you that are listening that have pool stores, when your customers come in telling you about the bounce dryer sheets,
you can come at Rudy.
Yeah. That was totally my fault.
God damn it.
Anyway, this has been the Talking Pools Show. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Yes, thanks for listening.
Subscribe. That's the best thing that you can do for us.
And follow. Leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts helps other people find us, or so I've heard.
So you heard it right here. Andrea says, leave a review.
A nice review.
So do it now.
A nice review.
Yes, you know the rules of thumb, right? If you don't have anything nice to say.
Shut the hell up.
That's our show for this week. We'll talk to you guys next Friday. Thank you, as always. We appreciate you.
Bye, thank you.